This video is a little bit unusual for us.
Yeah, it is. But by publishing this video, we hope viewers can avoid the hard lessons that caused us to install a third remote monitoring system on Emerson in as many years.
Please keep in mind that what works for us may not work for you, and at the same time, what has not worked for us may be just right for you. Emerson and her circumstances may be very different from your boat. Most likely, you are here to learn a bit about Sensar Marine, so we'll start with our initial impressions to save you from having to search the video for the information you want.
If you feel that you need something to keep an eye on your boat, and you are not sure what that is, we recommend you also watch the second and third chapters. It may help you to cut through some of the fog.
We will then compare our 2022 Garmin OnDeck system and our 2023 and 2024 Siren Marine Siren 3 Pro implementation to our new Sensar Marine system.
We'll summarize the data and then we'll put a bow around it all and offer some recommendations and not so final thoughts. We have some experience with products that invite you to enjoy a somewhat comprehensive, connected boat experience. If you want to know everything there is to know about your boat while you are away, then Sensar Marine's product is not for you.
Unlike others, Sensar Marine focuses narrowly on enabling you to know that your boat is safe while you are away. We have had this system now for 3 weeks and will provide updates as we live with it.
I will need to let go of my desire to have lots and lots of data.
Please excuse our project blanket to protect Emerson's table.
The Sensar Marine kit seems very straightforward and complete. With other systems, we had to add fuses, fuse holders, connectors, heat shrink, and labels, and we had to buy some of the associated tools.
Nice to have all necessary parts included. The small size and ruggedness of the main unit gave us lots of mounting options.
We chose a location that required me to extend 2 wires but offered proximity to the thruster battery and convenient access.
A location that favored bad knees over wire length.
Very true. The bilge sentry seems even more rugged than the main device. It seems like nothing will get into this thing.
Which is good, because it provides some of the vital data and will be partially submerged in salt water.
We routed the cable along existing wires and zip-tied it in place. I may have to double-check the location here and perhaps move it a little bit forward. The installation was remarkably easy and quick.
And we didn't rush it.
Right.
A $10 per month subscription is required for the app to work. And once paired with the device, the home screen shows us everything we need.
There isn't much to the app, and everything here is also straightforward. Each of the tiles or elements has additional detail behind it. I wonder if the preset warning and alarm levels will work for us. And I would like to see an alarm if the batteries are not charging.
The blip in the graph here occurred when we disconnected shore power for you to remove the shore power sensor of the previous system, right?
Right. If our bilge pump works well, we won't see a lot of change in the water level. In our test, the pump comes on right around 2.1 inches of water and shuts off again at 1.9 inches. You can see our testing in the graph.
What you see here will vary depending on your installation and your bilge pumps.
Under impact, we see our jostling of the unit as we mounted it while it was already powered up. We'll see how useful this data will be as we live with the system for a while. Tracking gives us our exact position and allows us to share our location, and presumably will create a track as we move and record a certain level of detail.
Interesting.
Geofencing will alert us if Emerson leaves her known location. Because of the metal roof of Emerson's covered slip, this has been difficult.
The geofence is easier to see with the satellite overlay, so let's turn that on.
We suspect that Sensar Marine handles geofencing much better than others. As you can see, the circle around Emerson is rather large. It automatically adjusted to the poor GPS signal. When the signal is good, or even excellent, the geofence is much smaller.
Sensar Marine seems to manage the conditions around geofencing to avoid false alarms.
And that is a new and welcome experience for us. The two temperatures will tell us if our bilge heater is working and if the water temperature drops into the freezing territory.
I am not sure how useful our testing will be as we near summer, but we welcome the feature.
I think some of the other aspects of the app are best explored once we have used the system for a while and allowed it to collect some data.
Yeah, I agree. I am looking forward to this. No false shore power alarms, no false geofence warnings. So far, so good.
I suspect that our testing will be uneventful and boring, which means that this monitoring system lives up to its promise and gives us the peace of mind we are looking for.
That will be nice. More to come. It really is important to understand your use cases, or the why, before settling on requirements and translating those into features you seek in a product.
At the same time, keep an open mind and avoid tunnel vision.
And question your assumptions and conclusions.
Here is a real-world example. For some time, I thought that a must-have feature is a shore power sensor.
Why?
We need to know if the shore power is on.
Why?
A couple of reasons. For one, we need to make sure that the battery charger is working to maintain the batteries.
Why?
If the batteries are not being charged and maintained, they may not provide power when the bilge pumps need to run.
Why does that matter?
If the water in the bilge keeps rising and the pumps are not pumping, the boat may sink. This actually happened in my extended family in a marina on Gabriola Island.
So we need to know that power from the batteries will be there if needed, which means that the charger charges and maintains the batteries.
Right.
And it would be good to know if the water is rising in the bilge.
Yes, within reason. Some bilges are wet, but it can get out of hand, and then it is a must-have.
Okay. So, we need to be sure that if the water in the bilge is getting to a certain point, the bilge pumps will pump it overboard?
Exactly.
So far then, our needs include a bilge pump sensor, a water level sensor, and some indication that the batteries are charging.
That's right.
So, no need yet for a shore power sensor.
True. But we also need to have confidence that our devices using shore power, or household power, are running.
Why?
Well, we have a bilge heater that assures that nothing is freezing in the bilge and engine compartment.
So you want to see that the temperature in the engine compartment stays above freezing.
For the water in the bilge, yes. But for the bilge heater, it should kick in at 41 degrees Fahrenheit and stop running at 45 degrees. It should be cycling on and off.
So the actual requirement is to know the temperature of the water in the bilge, if any. And you want to know the air temperature in the engine compartment.
Yes, but we also have 2 cabin heaters and a dehumidifier inside the living spaces.
I repeat myself, but why?
To keep the freshwater mixer valves and our water filter from freezing, but also to keep the humidity at bay so we keep Emerson's interior free of mold and musky odors.
I thought we winterized the water lines.
We fully winterized the transom shower and we emptied the rest, including the hot water heater. The water pump is off and the faucets are open. I am mostly worried about any remaining water in the mixer valves and the water filter. Since we use Emerson year-round, we did not fully winterize those.
So we are worried about temperature and humidity. I thought we had an inexpensive weather station set up from Costco for that.
We do. We have the temperatures and humidity. If we knew that the shore power is off, we would know that the heaters and dehumidifier are not working, and that would explain why the humidity increases and the temperatures are falling. But also, shore power could be on and the surge protection shut down the circuits anyway. This has already happened a couple of times.
We just need to keep an eye on the temperatures and humidity, and if it gets to a certain level, we need to go and check it out.
We don't really have a good case for a shore power sensor. In fact, it has been misleading us at times. If a chosen kit had one, we would use it. But buying one? No. We don't have a case for it.
This was only an example.
But a real-world, valid example for Emerson. Hopefully, it was helpful. For our needs, we actually need to know that the batteries are being maintained, the air and water temperatures in the bilge, and the water level. And if we didn't have our Costco weather station, we could do with some additional temperature and humidity sensors.
We focus our selection process on prioritizing our requirements into 4 categories.
First, safety. Is Emerson sinking at the dock? Is the water in the bilge rising? Are the bilge pumps working? Is there even power to run the bilge pumps? Is the latest freeze about to bust a through hull and sink her?
Second, is she ready to go? Will the engine start? Are the batteries ready for an overnight cruise? Did the plumbing survive the latest freeze? Has mold taken over the interior?
Third, security. Emerson lives in a remote and secure marina. It may be surprising to see security low on the priority list. This may be a good example of your requirements needing to be different from ours.
At our marina, the crime rate is low, and opportunity crime is mostly thwarted by the marina. We lock the cabin, the dinghy outboard, and the dinghy itself. The Volvo ignition lock works well, and we don't hide a key aboard Emerson that is typically easily found by criminals.
Emerson is within the view of several cameras that serve as a deterrent, but also detect and record worrisome events. Additional security-type requirements that a remote monitoring system may cover are likely to be around recovery and insurance claims. Overall, we rank security features as a lower priority due to the reduced likelihood of attempts and an even lower likelihood of successful property crime.
And for our fourth and final category, convenience features and nice-to-haves. There are many. Some of these make for great marketing.
A few of the nice-to-have features are really cool. But I have two big problems with nice-to-have features. One, if we have to pay for them, I want them to work. They may be included in the price, but they are never free. Two, if they don't work, they lower overall trust in the system. So let's get the core functionality reliable to start. Then keep it reliable. Make me forget that you even have a support department. Then, if everything we need works and continues to work, I'll have some interest in the cool stuff.
In summary, we don't need to know everything that is going on with Emerson. We don't need a connected boat. We just need to know that she is okay while being 90 minutes away. It won't seem like it initially, but Sensar Marine will win this comparison handily. This chapter will show how we reached that result, and you may find some nuggets here that will help you with your own selection.
We'll start with safety, and then pick up the pace.
A lot of important things live in the engine compartment. We are very interested in keeping things from freezing, and all three platforms are providing us with temperature data and alarms. Garmin's OnDeck Hub includes one wired temperature sensor. Siren Marine supports optional $140 wireless temperature sensors, and we added just one. Sensar Marine has two wired sensors built into its bilge sentry module, and by default, we get the temperatures of the water in the bilge, along with the air temperature. Everyone meets this requirement.
Our nightmare scenario is that water in the bilge is rising, and the bilge pumps are failing to pump the water overboard. Sensar Marine has a water level monitor and a bilge pump sensor. Between the two, we feel that all doomsday scenarios are covered. Siren Marine, out of the box, supports a high water alarm and a hardwired bilge pump sensor to meet this requirement. We opted to use a wireless high water alarm for convenience. Garmin only supports wired inputs, and for that is using a 19-wire input-output cable. Two of those wires are for bilge pumps, and none for water level or high water.
Initially, that was not a problem. Emerson's bilge pumps were auto-sensing. They would run every couple of minutes for a very short period of time, and if they sensed water, they would pump it out. If the pumps ran too long or not at all, we would have seen the problem in the data.
Then, Garmin made a software change, and the short sensing events of the pumps were no longer recorded or transmitted. As we worked with Garmin to get the functionality back, we worked on mitigation. There was no high water alarm, and if there is an NMEA 2000 high water alarm or level sensor, we couldn't find it. If it exists, Garmin does not support receiving the PGN for it.
We had worked with Garmin for over 11 months when we arrived at Emerson to find water in the bilge almost reaching the engine. Both bilge pumps had stopped working, and we had been blind to it. Reading the current manual and installation guide, Garmin still does not support a water level sensor or connects to a high water alarm.
Garmin OnDeck Hub does not meet our highest priority requirement, and for that reason not only scores low against this requirement, but was also removed from Emerson. We cannot recommend it.
To support the bilge pumps, the house battery bank has to be available. Our winter storms cause power outages, and if the batteries are not being charged, we want to be alerted.
Both Garmin and Siren Marine support shore power sensors and have configurable voltage alarms. But Sensar Marine loses its first point. It indicates charging, but does not alarm when that is not happening. Voltage alarms are not configurable in the Sensar Marine app, so by the time we find out that the batteries have not been charging, we may have little time to react.
We'll keep Garmin in the game in case it works for you, but it is not suitable for Emerson. Sensar has some fixable weaknesses.
And Siren Marine earned 10 out of 10 points. This category is about the difference between going to your boat to cruise and going to your boat to clean and repair.
For us, Ready to Go is about finding Emerson's interior clean and livable. No frost damage to the freshwater system, no mold, and no mildew. And her engine will fire up. We will have some thoughts about fridges, freezers, and tanks later in this video.
Emerson's automatic charging relays combine her 3 battery banks when they are being charged. She also has a parallel switch that allows us to treat the starter battery as a lower priority because we can bridge it to a rather large house bank.
Because of that, we monitor the house and thruster batteries. All 3 systems monitor the 2 banks we want to monitor, and Garmin and Siren Marine alarm when the batteries are not charging. Sensar alarms, but a little bit late in the game.
Garmin supports only one temperature sensor that, in the end, we decided to use in the engine compartment. Siren Marine allowed us to add additional wireless temperature-only sensors at $140 for each sensor, but it does not cover humidity. And Sensar allows neither the addition of temperature or humidity sensors.
None of the systems fully meets our needs in this category, and they cannot be expanded to do so. We award 5 points to Garmin for partially covering our requirements.
Sensar Marine loses a point compared to Garmin and is only awarded 4 points. It does nothing to answer our interior environmental questions, and alarming occurs too late for us.
Siren Marine scores on the other side of Garmin with 1 extra point, because we could have added additional, albeit expensive, wireless temperature sensors.
We have had multiple conversations with police over the years. The best way to deter property crime is to use cameras, and the best way to help police catch and charge criminals, and thus deter criminals, is again to use cameras.
None of our 3 systems supports cameras as part of their security play. We knew that before selecting them and had already implemented a separate security system with cameras, but we were interested in seeing how the remote monitoring systems can augment what we already had.
All 3 offer geofencing and record a track with the current location. Once stolen, each of the systems could aid in the recovery of Emerson. The single security input of the Garmin OnDeck Hub can support a chain of magnetic door or hatch sensors, alerting us to ingress. Siren Marine has the same, but also offers several add-on sensors that make it easier to monitor unauthorized parties entering your vessel.
Garmin and Siren Marine can use switching to sound an alarm or activate a strobe, or both. Sensar Marine offers nothing in terms of prevention.
In terms of augmenting our separate camera-based security system with vessel recovery support, we award 3 points to each of the platforms.
For property crime prevention, Sensar gets 0 points, and Garmin is awarded 2 additional points for its simple entry sensors and the actions that those can trigger. And Siren Marine gets another 2 points above and beyond Garmin's score for its added flexibility and additional sensors. All of these platforms offer additional built-in or add-on features that are not must-haves for us. We were initially excited to see Garmin's NMEA 2000 and network integration, and in the end, saw little to no value for us and Emerson. Your needs and experience may be very different.
Digital switching is an example. I thought that it would be useful to turn on Emerson's fridges from home so they would be ready to go when we arrived with our groceries. The reality is that the fridges are either on or they are open for ventilation and should not be turned on before closing them.
But that is what we do. You may handle things differently and have different needs to start.
Sensar Marine offers impact data, a trip log, tracking and location sharing, and the ability to manage multiple boats within the same app.
We don't think that we are the target audience for these features. But Sensar Marine is so focused on safety that I suspect we will be learning something as we use the system.
Garmin's OnDeck Hub integrated with our existing electronics via NMEA 2000 and its proprietary marine network. We recognize the value for other boaters but found little use for Emerson.
Siren Marine also uses NMEA 2000 and emphasizes its expandability so much so that it is double-dipping quite a bit. Still, it wins this category by offering more features, including satellite location and tracking when outside of cellular range. We use an independent Garmin InReach device for that. And if you prefer to use just one solution, Siren Marine has that for you.
For a limited set of nice-to-have features, we award Sensar Marine just 3 points.
Garmin OnDeck Hub, with its NMEA 2000 and network expandability, earns 6 points.
And Siren Marine retains its lead by winning this category with 8 points for its wireless sensors and the addition of boat location and tracking outside of cellular range. I was willing to undertake any effort to make my chosen system work and fit. During the course of the first install, which was the Garmin OnDeck system, I probably removed 50 to 70% of Emerson's panels, installed 4 additional fuse blocks, several terminal blocks and bus bars, along with countless rather expensive marine-grade connectors and labels. I carefully figured out how to expand the existing power systems so I would not overload existing fuse blocks and wiring.
And then, you documented every fuse and wire run in Emerson's documentation.
Right. I am an engineer by training and enjoy this sort of work, which I would not assume about everyone. Siren Marine was a little bit better in that it did not require fusing for most of its connections, and we were able to use a couple of wireless sensors instead of wired connections. We also used a large number of expensive marine-grade connectors and quite a bit of label maker tape.
But we needed to place calls to Siren Marine's help desk to get those sensors to operate. You were able to leverage already installed electrical components and wire runs from the departed Garmin OnDeck system. It took less effort for this particular install.
If you watched the first chapter of this video, you saw how complete the Sensar Marine kit is. We had several available mounting locations that would have resulted in 0 additional wiring or connections.
And it took about 2 hours for a very easy install. From the perspective of the average boater, Sensar Marine earned a full 10 points.
I have been a bit of a Garmin fanboy, and it pains me to give Garmin only 1 point. In comparison, which this install was a heavy lift.
Due to the availability of wireless sensors and a reduced need for extra fuses, Siren Marine is awarded 3 points. It benefited from the remnants of the Garmin install, but it was still a significant effort. We wondered how well these systems function in daily use. How easy is it to check on the boat? How easy are these systems to configure? Will these systems perform as expected?
For our Garmin OnDeck system, we found that all included features worked well. We never received false alarms and never noticed false readings that we did not cause ourselves. Emerson's covered slip made it difficult to configure the geofence to not get any false alarms and to be small, probably smaller than we needed it to be.
We would have liked the ability to customize our battery and bilge pump labels instead of having to remember the mapping, but perhaps this has been fixed. It seems to us that the current app is significantly updated. OnDeck had and has a very good manual, and we referenced it when needed.
As was the case with the completeness of the kit and the ease of installation, Sensar Marine's mission appears to be to make things easy and foolproof while not adding any burden to Emerson herself.
The software intelligently manages the system, including the geofence and configuration tasks, along with optimizing the charging of the device's battery.
The internal battery is its power source, lasting over a month and is charged when your house battery is charging.
Everything has worked these first few weeks, and we have not gotten a single false reading or alarm. Fortunately, we can see when it last updated, or I would think that it wasn't actually working.
There is a manual and we found FAQs, but we haven't needed them.
Like Garmin, it has a good operating temperature range to support our use cases. We would have liked to configure our alarm voltages and customize our labels, but the alarm settings work for us, and the only issue is that our thruster battery is labeled starter. A bit embarrassing to even mention that as an issue. We can live with it.
The Sensar Marine system sits quietly and transparently on the boat and does its job. The Siren 3 Pro system initially performed as we expected. An update to its app, firmware, and back-end systems this February changed all of that.
We reserve reliability and support for later, and for this section focus on what seem to be design choices.
Whereas Garmin and Sensar seem to manage sensor readings and events, Siren Marine seemed to be simply passing them through. We received so many false readings that could have been filtered by some business logic somewhere along the way, most likely in the firmware.
The Siren 3 Pro system and software are the most feature-rich among the three we tested, and also the least sophisticated. That combination was far from ideal for us, but Siren Marine gets points for being highly customizable.
On the hardware side, Siren 3 Pro offers a 24-hour backup battery that you may want to consider in your use cases, and a temperature range that impacts our core requirements.
Freezing temperatures are something we want to keep an eye on, and saltwater freezes at 28.4 degrees Fahrenheit or -2 degrees Celsius.
For Emerson's needs, the Siren Marine specifications and design choices greatly reduce its usability.
We already deducted points from Sensar Marine for its lack of voltage configuration, and won't double dip. The system scores an almost perfect 9 points.
Garmin's OnDeck is a tank. It also lacked custom labels and required a more involved user. It is not as transparently easy to use. We awarded 8 points.
GPS performance, temperature range, a small backup battery, and the lack of active or intelligent event management lower Siren Marine's score to only 3 points in this category. During our time with Garmin's OnDeck, we had 2 issues. First, a relay used for digital switching had failed and was replaced under warranty.
The second issue ended up being a software design change that removed support for our bilge pumps.
Other than that, the Garmin system was reliable, and all components and connections seemed to be high quality.
Sensar Marine was installed on May 10, 2024, and since then has had 0 issues.
Every hardware component is rugged and well sealed. If we encounter issues, we will provide an update.
Our Siren 3 Pro was installed in early October of 2023 when we moved Emerson to our new location.
The system worked flawlessly until February 2024, when the app, firmware, and back-end software were updated.
We received persistent false shore power readings.
We were relentlessly prompted to update the firmware if it was already updated or not.
Geofence reported entering without ever leaving and issued false alarms many times each day.
Our bilge pump tile showed up as 2, with one having the alarming and the other the correct name.
Tiles showed up with the wrong icon.
All NMEA 2000 data was wrong. All of it. Engine, tanks, you name it. For example, sometimes the system would show 1 water tank and 1 fuel tank, and sometimes 2 of each.
Engine hours would be correct when the engine was running and report over 1 million when the engine was off.
We drove 90 minutes one way to Emerson to troubleshoot for 3 months as Siren Marine blamed the roof over our slip, Marina Power, our device mounting location, and their own cellular carrier. None of those had changed. Only the software had.
We lost all trust in the Siren Marine system. The silver lining is that since these issues started with software changes, Siren Marine should be able to fix them all.
We award Siren Marine 2 points. Most of the hardware seems solid, but hardware without working software is nothing.
Garmin earned 9 points and Sensar for now gets the full 10 points. We hope it stays that way. Every good product should be backed by an even better warranty.
Support desks often can resolve issues, and if they can't, they are typically the gateway to warranty claims.
Let's first look at warranties. We suggest that it may be worth your while to consider if a vendor is focused on their customers, themselves, or both.
We searched the Garmin manual for warranty information and found nothing.
Then, after a bunch of scrolling,
we found a link to warranty information.
More scrolling.
Then we found a link to the marine warranty policy.
And after a little more scrolling,
we found that our warranty would be a Type 1 warranty, and that it would be for 2 years, as long as we could find our product in Appendix A.
So we scrolled some more and found it under Sensors. The influence of the legal department runs strong within Garmin.
After far less searching on the Siren Marine website, we found a more prominent link to their warranty page.
We quickly found that Siren Marine also offers a 2-year warranty, but then 2 other things stood out.
To be fair, we would expect these limitations from our other contestants as well, but it was striking how clear Siren Marine wants to be.
No warranty on software?
Oh, no, sir. Absolutely no warranty on software.
Alrighty then. This is not encouraging in light of all of the software issues.
Arguably, the Sensar Marine warranty is the easiest to find and the easiest to understand. It is also longer by 3 years, offering a total of 5.
It seems that Sensar is also only covering hardware. But we found out that software is also covered as an integral part of the system.
We'll keep it simple and award 1 point for each year of warranty coverage.
Moving on to support.
Sensar Marine has FAQs and installation videos and publishes support emails and a phone number. We used some of this before the installation, and after that had no cause to contact their support. Consequently, we are not deducting any points from Sensar's second half in the warranty and support category.
Garmin's support desk is responsive and has multiple tiers. Manuals and FAQs are available, but even the specialists knew little about this product, and our experience was a mixed bag. One issue was resolved, but we did not fare well on the second. A slightly better than average experience for 3 points. Shout out to Lucas at Siren Marine. He helped us patiently to get our wireless sensors working. We also found online resources were plentiful.
The rest was also mixed, and it stood out to me that problems that started with a Siren Marine software update were blamed on Volvo, the marina, the mounting location, and cellular providers. This was a below-average support experience, and we award 2 points. Let's look at our initial acquisition costs first, and then at the monthly subscription.
For Sensar, the kit itself is $499, and we only added a bilge Sentry extension cable for a total of $539.
Garmin starts at $850 for the OnDeck Hub kit. We needed to add a network expander, cables, and sensors for a documented total of $1,464.
The Siren 3 Pro starts at $797, and 3 added sensors brought the Siren Marine total to $1,173.
Only Sensar did not require additional electrical supplies. For that and its relatively low price point, we award it 5 points.
At more than twice the cost, Siren Marine earned 2 points, and at almost 3 times the cost, Garmin got just 1 point.
A subscription is required to operate these systems. All of our vendors offer a monthly plan and then provide a discount if you sign up for an annual plan. Since we boat year-round, we list the annual plans here.
Sensar Marine charges $120 a year, or the equivalent of 2 Starbucks beverages per month.
The Garmin cost is $12.99 per month with an annual commitment, which comes to $155.88 for the year.
And Siren Marine comes in at $225 for the year.
Sensar Marine is the clear winner here and earned 5 points.
Garmin charges a premium of 30% over Sensar Marine and is awarded 3 points.
Siren Marine charges 87.5% more than Sensar, and thus gets only 1 point.
We tried to be as objective as possible and were surprised at how clearly Sensar Marine won this comparison.
We think that the difference in these scores stems as much from Garmin and Siren Marine losing points as it does from Sensar Marine winning. But we don't want to diminish Sensar's win. Well done. None of the systems we reviewed and otherwise researched offer everything we want.
We use a Garmin InReach device for remote location sharing and our own safety.
A home weather station provides us with temperatures and humidity.
And multiple motion-detecting cameras do more for Emerson's security than any of the evaluated systems.
Consequently, we greatly discount remote monitoring features that only partially meet a particular requirement and are already covered otherwise.
And we care even less about nice-to-have features we don't need at all.
But we live in the real world. Features that we do need and want may change or even become discontinued. Companies get acquired and change direction. Trust can be misplaced. With changes all but guaranteed, we want to focus number 1 on our core requirements, number 2 on our investment of time for the installation and removal, should that become necessary, and number 3 on our financial risk.
With a very affordable price, easy and quick installation, and reliable performance against our safety requirements, Sensar Marine is the right product for Emerson.
Using the system has been boring, and when it comes to safety, boring is good.
Your needs may be different from ours, and what you want today may be different from what you want tomorrow. And why not?
We only caution to go down the road of changing requirements purposefully and not accidentally. We'll keep asking why. For now, we keep our focus on knowing that Emerson is safe and ready to go while we are away from her. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.